anytime you implement automation, it's a very disruptive endeavor. For us, it's like, how can we do something that doesn't take 18 months to implement, but still has a great impact?
Amen. Coffee, tea, or something else? What fuels your mornings?
Definitely iced lattes every
Iced
morning.
lattes. Okay. You
Yes.
make them
Yeah.
at
I
home or you get it
make
on the
them
way
at
to the
home.
office? Yeah.
No, on the way, I start every day with a good hike with my dog.
Really?
So yeah,
I
yeah,
love
that's
that.
how I start my day. Yeah.
You take the coffee with you on your hike?
Yeah, it's done by the time I get to the park. So
I
I
bet.
drive about 20 minutes to get there.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great way to start the day.
I bet. Yeah, I've started doing some morning walks myself, and it's just like, especially if it's
Oh,
super early before the sun comes up and you're out there while it does, it like sets you up really nicely.
yeah.
Um,
No, it's great. It's great.
when you were a kid, what did you think you'd grow up to be?
Well, both my parents were architects.
Oh,
So
really?
that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an architect. Unfortunately, they talked me out of it. They said, no, this is too hard. You don't want to be an
Yeah.
architect. But so I kind of gravitated towards engineering.
So strange. It's always the case if a parent has done it. Like I know parents now, friends that are like surgeons or in the medical field, and I'm telling my children, don't do this, or that are
Yeah,
lawyers, and yeah, it's so funny.
no, it's so fun. But I am a hobbyist. I'm an architect hobbyist, so I've designed a couple of
Oh yeah,
homes. So
that's cool.
yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool. Like for your
yeah,
own
yeah.
kind of investment projects or like
No, I
flipping
built
or
my last two homes, and
nice.
so I got to be the architect and general contractor.
That's very cool. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, something I'll
What's
do
one
maybe later in life.
yeah, mate, I mean, never too late, right? Um,
Yeah, that's right.
what's one technology that you can't live without?
Well, certainly my headphones. I got to have my head. I have them on pretty much morning till night.
Yeah.
Um, and I would say my Find My app because I'm constantly losing things, whether it's my devices or my family. So it's always good to track things down.
That's cool. I haven't heard either of those ones yet, so that's great. And if you could fast forward 10 years and see one impact that your work's made on the world, what would you want that to be?
Um, I think for me, I'd love to see just people become force multipliers. Like, how can our technology enable people to do more than what they're doing today, right?
Mm,
Um,
yeah,
we certainly want to make the quality of life better for the folks that we impact. And certainly, we're trying to hit all aspects of the supply chain and trying to reduce the cost of getting goods from, producers to consumers.
awesome. Welcome to Machine Minds, everyone. I'm your host, Greg Terusian, founder of Samson Rose, your robotics talent search partner. And on today's episode, I'm joined by Ayman Labib, co founder and CEO of SIMPL Automation. Thanks for being on the show today, Ayman.
Thank you, Greg. Good to be here.
Yeah, glad we got this scheduled. Let's jump into it.
Sure.
So, can you share your journey leading up to founding Simple Automation? Were there any pivotal moments or influences that led you towards robotics and automation, apart from being talked out of being an architect?
Yeah. Well, I've been in this space for probably 25 plus years. And I've been in various capacities, whether it was manufacturing. I spent half my time as a consultant where I was an automation concierge for people. And then I went into integration. So I took other people's technologies, provided turnkey solutions. But at the end of the day, I wanted to produce the automation. I wanted to be the one that manufactured and brought something to the market that wasn't there already. So I had a lot of experience through my time, and from that kind of just started the idea of how can we, make an impact based on the knowledge and what we've been doing throughout our entire careers.
So love that. What inspired you and your co-founders to actually start Simple Automation? And what was the original vision, if it's changed at
Uh,
all?
I would say for us, it's always been about disruption. Anytime you implement automation, it's a very disruptive endeavor, right? And for us, it's like, how can we do something that doesn't take 12 to 18 months to implement, but still has a great impact? And we
Yeah.
wanted to make the biggest impact. And for us, the biggest impact in our space is around ASRS technology, automated storage and retrieval. It impacts, buildings, and impacts labor, but and there's plenty of other solutions out there. But we wanted to find a way to bring those types of solutions, but at a pace that was faster than everybody else and that was, less disruptive.
Interesting. If you look back, was there like a simplest or most elegant idea that really sparked that the company's direction of where you guys ended up going?
I think just through our journey, like everything we do, what's elegant to me is like a good return on investment, right? To me, it's an idea that can justify itself. And it doesn't matter what the technology or solution is, but can it deliver what a customer wants? That's what's, to us, what drives what we look at every day. Um, some of the stuff that's more recent, like the cobot technology for us is a great example of how you could drop in, a piece of automation with very little disruption, have an immediate impact to a customer. So that was very attractive to us. But we certainly wanted to go after kind of the bigger opportunities with storage and retrieval solutions.
Awesome. So for listeners who may not be familiar yet, obviously I've had the pleasure of seeing you guys in person and demos and stuff like that. But what does Simple Automation do and who are you serving today?
Sure. We are a warehouse automation provider. We manufacture and implement ASRS technology. And what our technology is, we call it adaptive ASRS. And that technology bolts on to existing storage systems. And we provide the software, the hardware, all the things that go into executing, a goods to person type solution.
Yeah. I'm from seeing it and just knowing the space, right? The I guess bottleneck or sometimes resistance for people in the space to adopt technology is, well, I'm not going to like change my whole warehouse overnight, right? Or I've already invested so much in this space or in this technology or whatever. How can I get something that's I can either retrofit or adapt to what I've already got? And when saw, because obviously the warehouse and logistics space has been flooded with robotic solutions, but when I saw what you guys were doing, it was like a different angle, right? Or trying to solve the problem differently. Was that always the intention?
Yeah, absolutely. For us, it was, trying to de-risk for our customers. Like that is the biggest obstacle
Yeah.
for automation for a customer, and for them to even deviate from what they're used to and comfortable with, right? So emerging technology, there's only a small pool of early adopters. Most people in our space want the traditional type technology. So we wanted to find a way to de-risk it. And for us, we can implement our solution, one bay, one aisle at a time. If the customer doesn't like it, we can easily take it off and it goes back
Yeah.
to the way it is. Where other types of solutions require you to have to tear everything down and grind floors and move inventory and wait a year to get it all implemented. So for us,
Right.
we thought we could find a way to introduce more people to automation, and the fact
Wow.
that they can leverage their existing storage systems, they could do it at a lower price point. So could we be less disruptive, and can we do it for a lot less cost? So it opens up our addressable market. We can introduce automation to folks that may not, could have afforded it, or could, have that kind of disruption in their operation.
Yeah, yeah. It's really a differentiator, right? It helps you guys stand apart from other traditional or overhauling a whole warehouse type solution. Because I think I kind of liken what you guys are doing to some of the technologies and some of the solutions I've seen in like agriculture technology, where a farmer's going to say, I have this limited space to produce my crop for the year. There is no way I'm going to let you implement this technology in the whole thing. I need to make sure it works. So they're like, you can have this little piece of land for this season to try it and make sure that it works. And if it does, and if I see the result, then I can roll it out more, which is similar to this. You're saying just this bay, see it work, see the
Yeah.
efficiency, how easy it is to like implement and use, and then we'll roll out more from there, which is like you said, de-risking it, and getting rid of that kind of hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, we find, most of us hate to hear the word pilot, but it's a very palatable technology, right?
Yeah,
So our projects have always started with that. Customers are okay. We'll give you a chance. We'll give you a portion of the warehouse or an aisle or two to kind of showcase the technology, and if it's good, we can continue to roll it out. So it's very low cost barrier to be able to pilot the technology, where some of the other types of solutions, it's not so easy, right? So it's a
yeah.
pretty big step function.
And talk to me about space. Like, is it space saving? Does someone need to
Yeah.
get more space? Can they utilize space that they never used beforehand, or how does that help them?
Yeah, so the one thing, we spent a lot of time in the AGV AMR space from our background. And there's limitations to that in terms of how high you can go. So for us, we wanted to take the barriers of height out of the equation. So certainly we're not limited to how high we can go. Oftentimes we're dealing with facilities that have existing, storage systems that are designed for forklifts, whether it's a reach truck or a stock picker. And so what we do is have the ability to more or less compress the aisles, and give them more space back. So can we take what they have, compress it, and turn it into automation, and extend the life of that facility? That's what folks want to do, right? They want to be able to store more inventory. If their throughputs go up and the turns remain the same, it requires more storage. How do they get more storage? They're either adding another node to their network or finding a way to make things more dense. So we feel like we've kind of given customers that opportunity to extend the life of their facilities.
It's awesome. Uh, Maybe a bit of a cheeky question, but I always like to know about like core technology behind the robotic systems, or kind of what your secret sauce is. I don't know how much of that you can share, um,
Yeah.
but if you can share some of it, that would be great.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, our technology is comprised of, think of it as like a mini load. So we have a mini load, that more or less snaps onto existing storage. And so we have custom patented bracketry that allows us to affix our technology onto a storage system. And then for us, we're agnostic to whether it's structural rack, whether it's rolled form, whether it's pallet, whether it's case stock. We don't really care. We're very, we'll take whatever we got as long as it's in decent shape. Um, so for us, that's part of what we've focused on is how do we kind of adapt. That's where the adaptive ASRS comes from. Um, and we try to provide to our customers a turnkey solution that includes a what we call simple in a box. And so we come to the site with our network, with our servers, with our own private 4G network, that allows us to stay outside of the firewall of our customers. So we can drop in and not disrupt anything on the customer side. So we find that the customers feel like, wow, you can come in here, go onto our existing storage system and not disrupt our infrastructure. I mean, that's certainly allows us to go much faster than others, having to go through the firewalls and all the challenges with that. We also have a ground bot. So for us, it's more or less a division of labor, right? So if you think of how turret trucks work, in an aisle where they're doing all the storage and retrieving, and then they hand that off to a driver at the end of the aisle that's moving it from the end of the aisle to another area in the warehouse. So our solution is kind of doing the same thing where we've got our adaptive ASRS that's taking product out of the storage system and then handing it over to our ground bot, which is at a lower cost, and driving that back and forth to processing areas.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
obviously, being able to come in and not disrupt their network, not having to go through the firewall, having your own 4G connectivity as well is probably learned, or you became aware of it when you knew the problem set. What were some of the hardest engineering challenges that you faced early on, and how did your team overcome those?
Yeah, I think we were a bit naive at the beginning on how easy it was to go on existing racking, right? So
Yeah.
you've got uprights that are pitched in every direction, and we could only make the ladder go maybe a couple of bays before it screeched to a halt.
Yeah.
So we're like, we've got to approach this problem different. So kind of the localization of our bots and inventory, and how do we kind of traverse onto that racking was some of our earlier challenges. And we know that um, the warehouse moves. There's vibration. We're going on existing wire mesh decking, so it's very easy for stuff. You put it you put it one day in one location, and the next day it might have shifted.
Yeah.
So trying to accommodate for the localization of your system becomes the bigger challenge.
Interesting. Because I think you guys obviously emphasize flexibility and scalability. So it seems like that's a philosophy that shows up in your product design and probably like underpins why it's so important with all the different types of warehouses and setups that you guys come into contact with, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like we've tried to make it like a Lego set. So we don't care how tall, and like I said, we don't care what kind of storage it is. For us, whether it's one aisle, 10 aisles, it's using the same foundation of our product. So it allows us to manufacture much faster. So we don't have a lot of customization. And in fact, we can handle various product sizes. So we have a customer right now that wants to double their payload. They want to go twice as big, twice as heavy. We're going to build that for them on our existing technology. So
Nice.
so we've kind of allowed that. And the other aspect is that we can help customers walk before they run. So we have both a goods to person solution, but we also have a person to goods solution. So we have the ability for them to leverage a lot of their existing picking technologies, whether it's cart based or cobot, where we can just serve as the replenishment or the letdown, and allow them to get the benefits from a storage as well as picking standpoint, and do that prior to going into a full goods to person solution. So the technology gives that flexibility of allowing us to kind of start slow and grow over time.
I'm curious about something that we didn't talk about offline or anything, and I'm just more curious about business plan and pricing and stuff like that, because we've obviously over the last 24 months, 18 months heard a lot more about RaaS, and then people comparing the CapEx cost. And in these some of these industries that we are getting automation in place, agriculture, warehouse, delivery, etc. Margins aren't huge, so every bit helps. What are you seeing from your customers? Like, do they prefer or would they want like the CapEx, the ownership? Do they like the RaaS model? Is there some kind of like, hey, treat this as an employee efficiency type thing? I don't know. Every time I speak to someone, it seems to be something different.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's just being flexible for what our customers want. I've tried RaaS for the last, I don't know, 15 years.
Really?
You always bring it up. You always bring it up and offer it to a customer, and they have different, criterias. And what's nice about our technology is it's very um, RaaS friendly. For us, we
Mm,
can charge by the robot, we can charge by the transaction. It snaps on. They don't want it, we can take it back. So we've allowed ourselves to work in either model, but for the most part, we're seeing customers focus more on the CapEx side.
yeah,
So
yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
Shifting gears a little bit to more of the entrepreneurial journey, and also I want to talk about team and stuff like that as well, because obviously recruiting is what I focus on. Um, Starting a company, especially a robotics company, isn't easy. I'm curious about what were some of the biggest challenges outside of the product or engineering side for the first kind of 12 to 18 months. Is there anything that comes to mind for you?
cash,
Yeah.
cash, um, products, customer acquisition. It's all the challenges. Talent, right? You want to attract talent, but you need the cash to attract the talent.
Right.
You want the customers, but you got to have the product to get to the customers. So it's at the beginning, you're just trying to buy as much time as you can. Like we had a vision, we know what we wanted to do. It's like how long was it going to take to reach that vision? So for us, um, we we try to find early adopters as quickly as possible. That was for us, and we've been in the industry for a long time, so we had a lot of networks and connections. So we sought those folks out that saw our vision, saw the potential, and were willing to give us a chance. And that allowed us, time early on to, further our product and make it more robust.
Nice. How did you actually go about building your founding team and attracting the right talent in the early days?
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very fortunate. Our founding team, we've worked together in the past, and I've got some folks have been with me for 10, 15 years.
Nice.
And so from different disciplines that have hardened automation technology. So these are folks that have tremendous domain knowledge, that are trusted. We trust each other. So that part was easy, to kind of get the core people there. It's when you begin to scale and grow. And luckily, we had a pretty large network of folks that, when they saw that we're ready, they were ready to join us. So they kind of believed in us before, and and that certainly helps when
Yeah,
you've got a track record. Um, and so we've been very fortunate, and I can't be more happy with the team that we have.
that's great. Yeah, I see a lot of, first time founders or people very early in their career that are starting companies, which I love to see, obviously the ambition and the new way of thinking through problems and stuff like that. But when it comes to the talent side, if you don't have the cash, the track record, the network, it can be an uphill battle sometimes, right? You need to know what levers to pull, who to loop in to help you. And from the track record part, even if you aren't paying market or above market, but people have seen, hey, I was part of this previously, I've seen it be successful, I trust this person, and either which way we're going to be made right. It's hard to do that when you have nothing. You just have your pitch deck.
Yeah, right. Yes, right. Yeah, I remember having to, show the guys early on, like, here's the vision, here's what we're looking to do, and to kind of get people to make that leap of faith.
Right.
It's certainly not easy, but we're not like roboticists. We are industry experts that know the things that the market wants.
Mm,
And we found folks that have expertise in product design, that we work with to kind of bring our solution to market. So I think we kind of approached it differently. You got a lot of folks coming out that, I've got this cool idea,
yeah.
but they don't have maybe the domain knowledge or the business acumen or the network. So for us, I think we just had a lot of that coming into the start of the
Yeah.
uh, the company.
Which is so important, the domain expertise and business acumen, because I hear from VCs all the time, but then also see firsthand like the founder struggles if they don't have both sides, right? It's great to have the
Yeah.
technical, but you need to know the industry that you're serving, the problem that you're solving, the language that people are using, the buying timelines and cycles, and all of that good stuff. Otherwise, you need to hire the right people that know that. Like without it, you're missing a key puzzle piece.
Yeah, 100%, Greg. You have to have that on your team, right? You have to have someone in industry, and for us, that was, luckily the case. Most of our all of the team members kind of came from the industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. What lessons about leadership and scaling have stuck with you along the way?
It's the focus part, really. It's focus, and more focus. It's very easy to get distracted, right? So, and we had folks coming at us with different ideas and different applications, and for us was just like keep it narrow. We don't have to hit a home run.
Yeah.
Let's just get on base here and just focus on making kind of incremental improvements. Let's not make this fully feature rich and all the functionality, and just make sure that it works, and then we can add to that over time. So I always tell people, like, it's just kind of maintain the focus and make sure everybody has understanding of that vision. What is the North Star that you're tracking to? And there's always long-term stuff, and there's certainly the short-term stuff. So we kind of plan, on those. Hey, what do we want to do by the end of the year, and what are the things we need to do incrementally to kind of be successful? So, yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate to have folks that are very experienced in terms of rapid development. We're trying to bring something up that wasn't there before in a very short period of time. So you can get bogged down quite a bit, in trying to get to perfection. And so for us, we were all about the speed. And as I said, just finding the right partners that were willing to, come along with us on that journey.
Awesome. How do you, I want to start talking about the future here a little bit and just your insights and what you kind of like see coming. But I'm curious about how you see the future of warehouse automation evolving over the next kind of 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, we just have to get faster at it. I mean, we really do. Like, we can't, like, customers can't sustain the cycles of automation. Everything, takes longer, it's more disruptive, more costly, doesn't deliver. Like, the industry has to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And I think, um, folks are learning, and they're trying to find quicker ways to get wins. And so maybe they're not taking bigger jumps as much anymore, but they're finding ways to incrementally get better. I think you're also going to see a lot of consolidation, right? You're going to see kind of combining of technologies, and folks, our integrators are going to get, I think, consolidated as well. And from a technology stack standpoint, is there going to be another way to pick up inventory and move it through the warehouse? I'm sure somebody will come up with another way. Um, and it always comes back to what is the payback for that solution. So, the introduction of humanoids. I think everyone's excited to see what that can do. And I'm certainly there's things today that only people can do.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that evolution with robotics and being able to overcome some of those hurdles of what people do today that now robots will be able to do in the future.
I'm sure AI, from your perspective, is going to play a major role in that. But do you think it would play or will be playing uh, a role in making robotics even more accessible as well?
Um, I I tell folks that for us, like AI is two things. It's optimization and how we deal with recovery. So AI can help us optimize algorithms and make our software smarter and be able to take more data and make the right decision for an operation. So kind of letting it become more of the brain
Mm,
of the operation. Is there a better way to get from point A to point B? And then second aspect is kind of dealing with unforeseen conditions. How do we recover? Like I was giving you an example of totes moving in storage. So can I leverage, AI or other types of tools to deal with how do I recover from, um, non-happy path type processes? And for us, I think there's going to be a lot more in that arena. We certainly use it as we do our software development and make us more efficient in our day-to-day tasks. But in terms of going into the technology, that's what I see the benefits.
nice. Yeah, yeah, I agree. If you had to give one piece of advice to aspiring founders in the robotics space, what would that be?
I mean, first of all, kind of know your TAM, right? Know your TAM. I see a lot of folks just have like amazing ideas, but it is the market there for it. So just make sure you understand your TAM, and make sure you have the funding to where you can create a commercially viable product. And that's very difficult to do. And that can come from fundraising or it can come from customers. And you can always raise money on an idea. You don't have to have a product to be able to raise money, but you have to have a product to to sell to your customers, and that's the hardest part of it. So to me, it's how do you get to a commercially viable product that's sellable in the market? That's the hardest thing. And can you afford to get there? It takes time. You got this the time piece of it is really the biggest challenge that most startups face is are you going to have enough money to get
Mm,
there? Are you going to have enough time to get there? So,
yeah,
so make
that's
sure
very
you have that in place. Plan for double.
it sounds like a lot of this is obviously advice from your own experience, but it sounds like fundraising and VC experience as well from conversations that you've had or feedback given or roadblocks and hurdles that you've had to overcome. Um,
Yeah, we were fortunate to be a part of an accelerator. And I think that's where we kind of met Greg
yeah.
early on through Mass Robotics. And they provided a lot of opportunities and networks just as a startup and getting access to VCs, getting access to mentors and folks that we could lean on and ask for advice. So that was very helpful for us early on. We were fortunate that we could bootstrap the business early on,
Mm,
and we were luckily able to get customers rather quickly. So that kind of helped us. But certainly, we've talked to plenty of VCs and asked them those kinds of questions, and kind of help form where we are today.
awesome. Awesome. On the point of accelerators and just having a network right from the space, how valuable and important do you think that is for founders in general, but maybe like first time founders as well? to be part of something like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I've been doing this for so long, but there was so much I didn't know, trying to start up a business and all the things that go with that. So it was amazing to have people that I could call that would pick up the phone and answer any question, just very opened other doors. You talk to someone and they would, hey, I know this person that you should talk to, whether it's on the manufacturing side or talent, or a customer, a potential prospect, or a VC. So I highly recommend if someone could be a part of that. That makes the journey somewhat easier to begin with.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Well, look, I really appreciate your time. I'm conscious of it. But I wanted to ask one last question, just outside of this. If
Yeah.
you could build or design a robot to handle one piece of like a personal chore in your life or any sort of automation that you want to, you know, offboard to that, what would it be and why?
Uh, yeah, I would, from a personal chore standpoint, um, a motivational coach.
Mm,
I want, like, I want, we all have like, we need someone to push us every day. And so for me, like having something that could just motivate me, whether it's to get up and work out or, just get me going. So like for
an
me, if I could
accountability
have,
partner.
yeah, exactly. Just make keeping me honest every single day, making sure I'm progressing, evolving. Like
I,
that would be pretty cool if I could rely on that. So
That's that's an interesting one, yeah, because you think, some people listening might be like, well, you can use ChatGPT or whatever, but I think there's something for the physical presence of if you've got a gym buddy or you've got your
yeah,
partner, like,
yeah,
why aren't you getting this done? Or, you're wasting
uh,
time. Yeah,
yeah. Like it's gonna know that I didn't work out this morning, and it's gonna
right.
get on me on a daily basis. So yeah, no, I think yeah.
Here's your iced latte. Get out the house. Come on, go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, love
So,
that.
how about you? What about you, Greg? What would be your
Ooh.
your
Uh,
personal chore bot?
that is a good one. Mine would probably be around food, but it would have to be like doing the groceries and making the
Mm.
food. Because,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, like food buying, prepping, and making would be amazing for me. Like I didn't have to think about any of that because there's some awesome stuff out there. Like Posha do their own food robot and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is really cool. And there's other like food delivery services and all that, but there's just something missing in all of it. I don't want to be involved, which is why I think DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that have such a big market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. We actually joked around. Is there a way to bring our technology to the home?
Mm,
And you think of like a kitchen
yeah.
and how much storage you have in a kitchen, but how much do you access on a regular
Right.
basis, right? So you
Yeah.
got pantries, you got cabinets and all that. So if there was a way with a storage and retrieval system to kind of bring the technology, whether I got to bring a blender or bring, ingredients and have a way to just automate the replenishment of that, right? So
Yeah.
we're consuming and tracking. So I've always had a desire that maybe this could become more into a smart home, or
Right.
who knows.
That would be great. You can use my house for a test bed if you need.
For sure.
I mean, even
All
stuff
right.
like
Okay.
making food for my kids in the morning, right? I do their breakfast, but then also for lunch for school. So you think about how many meals you
Yeah.
make throughout a day for little people and yourself, and obviously, personally, you fall to the bottom of the list a lot of the time, right? And
Yeah.
then yeah,
It never
so
ends.
no, it never ends. It's a good problem to solve, I think.
You got to have that motivational bot, right? So you gotta
Exactly.
do your food prep. You got to
Exactly.
do your food
Exactly.
prep.
Yeah, I don't need a reminder on my phone. I need someone to stand over me and
Just
make me get up.
Sunday
Yeah,
food prep, right?
exactly,
It never
exactly.
always happens, but
Awesome. Well, look, Eamon, thank you so much for being on the show. I really
for sure.
appreciate it and hearing all about your journey and the product and the company and all the advice that you give us. So this is super, super helpful. Thank you.
No,
Um, how can our listeners learn more about you, the company, and follow on about everything you guys are doing?
just come follow us on LinkedIn. We got some cool stuff that we're going to let out before the end of the year. We got some new product. So stay tuned. Come to our website, simpleautomation.com, simple without an E, or follow us on Instagram.
Awesome. We'll link all of this in the show notes for people for ease. But yeah, I look forward to keeping in touch and seeing everything that's coming.
Yeah, thank you so much, Greg. I really enjoyed it. Appreciate you having me on your show.
My pleasure.